Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Thanks for being with us. I'm glad to be with you, and we're here together again on this Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. December the 2nd, 2022. We're going to have a really good show today. Brian Poulin should be joining us momentarily after the weather and sports, very quickly at the beginning of the show. And then we got lots to unpack, lots to talk about. We might spend just a few moments following up on our last couple shows, which took the entirety of the last show. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you are, it was a deep dive into some legislation that we have, the medical assistance in death made, and that's basically on the amount of people taking advantage of that, or the amount of people that have used that are on the rise in Canada. And so the world is kind of watching how it's being used in Canada. Is it being abused in Canada? Is it just used for the purposes it was originally, made for, no pun intended. So anyways, huge topic, a lot of comments, took up the whole show yesterday. And we basically just had it at the end of the show previous. So I know Brian really wanted to jump on that show. So he may have a couple comments, but then we need to really move into other things and cover things. So thanks for being with us. CKLU 96.7 FM. On the radio, CKLU.ca. On the internet, you can stream us. You just go to their website and you click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us. The player will open. You can also download the Radio Player Canada app and take us with you anytime. Listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. And I'm always forgetting to mute that laptop. But anyways, you can also stream us live in video on Facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube.com/Sudbury News, and make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and all that stuff on social media. This is your conversation. This is your show on your station, CKLU. So let's get right into it this morning. We got lots to unpack. I just, again, want to thank you for being with us. And it's my pleasure to be with you each and every weekday morning. And we have a really great chat, and we have lots of you chiming in, and the comments are working today. And so we're looking forward to Brian coming on right after the weather and sports, and we'll unpack all kinds of interesting news for you today. We'll be right back after this with some weather. Sudbury Weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. And that is one thing I know every morning. Did I set up everything properly, or did I forget anything? And today, yes, I did. I did not share the screen on my laptop to show the weather. So that's just the way that it goes. And so as we do this in real time and getting it all set up, we can just start off with the weather anyways and get things going. So here you go. Currently, it is -1 out there. It is feels like -7, however. The wind chill a little colder than the regular temperature, and that's normal. You can expect today to be mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers late this morning. Wind becoming south, 30 kilometers gusting to 50 this morning, high +4, wind chill -5 this morning, and the UV index is always low around this time of year, and that is 1. So tonight you can expect more showers. Wind will be south, 30 kilometers gusting to 50, temperature steady near +5. Saturday, few rain showers. I can't believe it. I was just expecting more snow, but I guess the temperatures are moderate enough that we're going to be having precipitation in the form of rain until we get to the snow. But anyways, more rain showers ending near noon tomorrow. Then cloudy with a 40% chance of, flurries. And the wind will be from the southwest 20 kilometers, gusting to 40, and then up to 50 as the afternoon moves on, and then temperature falling to -2 as well in the afternoon, and that's the reason for the flurries as opposed to the rain. Mixed bag. Showers, snow for the next couple days, high of +4 tomorrow. Then -2 on Sunday with a 30% chance of flurries. Cloudy Monday, high of 0. Tuesday could be a chance of flurries. Chance of flurries again on Wednesday, and a chance of flurries on Thursday, -5 and -6 Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, the temperature is dipping down to about -11. So it's getting colder, and so that's what we can expect in terms of weather. Our satellite, as usual, lots of clouds with, quite a bit of clearing, more clearing than I'm used to over basically from Moosonee, Timmins, Sudbury, North Bay, that strip coming down from James Bay. But it's only clear for a while, and then it clouds up very shortly. We'll be back right after this with some Sudbury sports, but your Sudbury weather is brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Be back with sports right after this. Sudbury Sports brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's Randy Pascal and his sports website, SudburySports.com. He is that Sudbury sports guy right here from Sudbury. He covers all things local Sudbury sports. He's working the games. He's the Sudbury Wolves historian. He's on Eastlink TV last game anyways, doing the color commentary. He used to also with Steve Kerwin do the games on Eastlink, and so he does that from time to time as well. He's very busy in the world of sports. He wears many hats, and that's one of them. So he'll be at the game tonight when the Sudbury Wolves are taking on the Owen Sound Attack. So tonight's game will be Silver Stick Night, and the Wolves will welcome a number of Silver Stick teams to the tournament. Excuse me. Friday's game is sponsored by End of the Roll. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Fans are encouraged to come down early and check out the Coke Holiday Truck out front of the arena beginning at 5:45 p.m. The Owen Sound Attack come to Sudbury for the first time this season. The Attack roster features 3 NHL prospects, so that's going to be exciting. Then Sunday's game, we have a game on Sunday. It will be the sensory-friendly game. Billy's in charge of the sound, so he'll make sure that the sound is at a moderate volume, so that way if anybody is sensitive to volume, which I know my daughter is, and so I know there's many other people who say it's just too loud there. So Sunday will be refreshing in terms of the volume, so if you're sensitive to sound, loud sounds, Sunday's the game for you. It's the sensory-friendly game. The Wolves will invite all fans to attend. Fans can expect a reduced volume level, reduced use of lights, also if you're sensitive to light too, and that cause sensitivities. A quiet room will also be provided for those that need to get away. The Niagara Ice Dogs come to town for the second time this season. The Ice Dogs roster features one NHL prospect, Pascal Zito. He's drafted by Detroit. So anyways, there you go. So to see a full list of themes lined up for the home games this season, visit SudburyWolves.com, and you can get all the details there. If you need tickets for tonight's game, they're on sale now at greatersudbury.ca/tickets and at the arena box office. So there's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That's our Sudbury sports guy, Randy Pascal's sports website. So we'll be back right after this with headlines and Brian Poulain joining us in the guest seat right after this. So as mentioned, we have Brian Poulain joining us right now. Good morning, Brian. Is your microphone working this morning?
Good morning.
Yes, it is.
It's working.
How are you doing today, Brian?
Good, good. Refreshed.
Oh, good. That's always good.
Refreshed. Friday. It's a good day to refresh
Refreshed Fridays, yes. Refreshed,
for the weekend.
knowing that you're going to get even more refreshment on the weekend.
Mm.
So yeah, not only you're joining us, we got Diane. Happy Friday, everyone. Good
Good.
morning to David is chiming in. Good morning, Brian. You've already chimed in here.
Uh,
I like your tagline, Sudbury Campers. So I noticed you've used that a few times.
Change it up.
Yeah. Morning, all. Jen. Good morning. Good morning, Shane. How you doing, my friend? Jerome. Good morning. Hope you guys are all doing well this morning. We got a nice little bunch online and ready to unpack the latest stories. I know, Brian, we were talking about medical assistance in death the last couple days and how Canada basically is that it's a Canadian thing. We are not the only country doing it. However, I think we're one of the first to the table, and I think we're one of the countries that are utilizing it the most, if I'm not mistaken. You wanted to
Mhm.
chime in on that, and just before we get to the headlines of the day, I just thought I'd give you an opportunity because I know you wanted to really. You said, "Hey, can I jump on the show?" When we were talking about it. Did you have any
Yeah,
particular
I
thing you
was,
wanted to share on that subject?
I was hot to trot at the time. I guess the heat of the moment and everybody else commenting. So, no, really, just some personal experiences I had myself, and I was still on the fence about it. Well, pretty much up until yesterday. And I'm kind of thinking, no, there are many other things that we should be looking at here. So one of the things I wanted to mention is some I can't help but thinking what you had said at the beginning. So Canada was one of the first to come on board with this. I think it was somewhere in Switzerland. Um, I'm not entirely sure, but I think when this was sort of being introduced into Canada, there were Canadians that were traveling abroad to be able to medically assisted dying, MAD, whatever the acronym is. Um, and so I was really never affected by this in my life, not terribly so, and up until recently I had an experience with a family member, and I can only think of that time when uh ah I'm at a loss for words.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about you're a veteran, and
Mhm.
one of the things that this particular this medical assistance in death is used
Yeah.
for are people suffering from mental illness and PTSD, and a lot of our veterans kind of fall into both of those categories. And I know there's a large number of veterans who have taken advantage of this.
Mhm.
And what are your feelings as being a veteran towards that?
Well, my feelings are this: if a person has no quality of life, and you know, you're just going to be a vegetable sitting there. There's no quality of life. You're just the lumps laying on a bed, and um,
Yeah, for sure. If
very
there's
very
no
difficult thing. I
no
mean, it takes
chance
a
for regular
big
life.
person. There's no chance for regular life. The fact that it's gotten a lot easier to do this, to invoke this sort of option, is mind-boggling. Your article on parents able to euthanize their kids.
Well, not really
Yeah,
parents, but so children can now
well,
go to their doctor and and the doctor could say that this is a solution to their problems of depression, mental illness, whatever have you,
but I can
anxiety.
make that decision for myself.
You can make that
As you
decision
say,
for yourself. You're an
I don't
adult, right?
need
Yeah,
somebody to sell me the package.
yeah. Like we talked
I can
yesterday, if
make
you
that
want to
choice
do it, you could
myself.
do it yourself. Why do you need a doctor to assist you in that, in
Or to
doing that, or
even
suggest it?
to even suggest it even.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
So this is the
um
thing, like, so for veterans, a lot of them are like, like, should we be looking, like, again, I've had a lot of conversations off the show about this since the show, and I've agreed with a lot of the people's points of view where they're kind of advocating for the fact that there is a need, like you said, like possibly, like there's some extreme circumstances where, this could be a solution. However, and we all agree that I think it might have overreached its, original use or intention, and that is if it's a last minute or a last resort
well,
for somebody, it's
the numbers are increasing. That's
mhm,
alarming. Why is this the option is now available, and the numbers have been increasing exponentially over the years. So why is this sudden increase in, like, is it that more people are dying, or what is it, what's happening there?
yeah. And again, for the reason it
that,
comes in, but then
that
but
many people.
yeah,
Wow,
it went from
it's impressive.
5,000 to 7,000, and now we're over 10,000 in 3 years. So in 3 years, it's more than doubled. And so what will it be next year? And then as they kind of open the door for more, this is somebody's form of therapy. This is included in their plan. Okay, we'll
In their
try
plan, yeah,
Xanax
the
first or
treatment.
whatever
Yeah.
drug, and then we'll try this. And if that doesn't work, well, there's always medical assistance in death to
Sure.
help you with your depression, and you won't be depressed
Well,
anymore.
let's bring back some electroshock therapy then.
Well, that's what I mean,
To the
right?
brain
There's
that way. I mean, but on a personal level, like from a veteran's point of view, I would I've seen friends suffer, um, and literally begging for them to be, to end it for them. And
yeah. This
this,
is
as they're dying, I mean, what do you do?
mhm.
Uh, you watch them suffer, and you just hold their hands and tell them they're going to be all right while they pass, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And it's one thing on a battlefield or whatever. I'm always hopeful to think that there's therapeutic
Yeah.
methods
Mm.
to help somebody recover or get through a challenging circumstances, as challenging as it can be. I do also understand there can be some that are just over the top, overwhelming, and that's the reason why this legislation was allowed in the first place. I just think that the legislation was allowed, but now it's just getting into too many other things where if they would have mentioned those things back when it was first coming into law, we wouldn't have made it into law. It just wouldn't have gone there. Excuse me.
Just one more thing I wanted to add was, also from a spiritual point of view, for me, like I say, I'm still on the fence. I'm on the fence. I'm not on the fence. It all boils down to, I keep thinking, like, it, if this is an option that's being presented to me, would I take it? Would I take it as being offered? No. If I wanted to do anything such a nature, I would hope that I would have at least enough mind and do it myself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it always is a choice you could do. And that's Jerome's point here. He was always told that, committing suicide, the act of committing suicide was not only illegal, but spiritually from the church, your soul is kind of damned to hell. There's that belief that's
that
out there.
part. I mean,
but now pharmaceutically, pharmaceutical
interpretation.
companies are marketing it to us, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
it's like the opposite end. Now, CTV News, Miles
And
is
so,
saying
yeah,
yesterday.
how much are they making off of this?
Yeah, exactly.
And is there an agenda, as you say? And if there is, well, what is it? We'll never know. But
Yeah. So if you see, Miles is saying CTV yesterday had some discussion on this. To me, no one has the right in the right mind if they are contemplating this at a young age, especially at a young age. Exactly. You're not even, your
Sure.
brain isn't even fully
very
developed.
schedule. Yeah. And
kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredible. All I got to say. In addition to that, the comment there, so there is a program on W5, 2-part series, 25-minute parts on
Yeah.
W5. It's called, it's an episode that they did on medically assisted death. The name of the title of the episode is slipping my mind, but it's a 2-part series about a man who's he's talking, and but he just tells his story. So if anybody interested, have a look. It was an eye opener for me in terms of getting the thought rolling in my head and the thought process on what I thought about that. And this was at a time when I had an uncle who had suffered 3 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
On the 3rd one, he was finally bedridden to the point where he was completely paralyzed. There was no movement. All the discs in his back were fused. And, he would have just, the only thing that moved was the head, bobblehead sort of thing. And it was talking. And he decided that, at 84 years old, he's had enough. And he opted himself for that option.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to be in your right mind, make the decision yourself, being of clear, sound mind. That's one thing. Before, we never had that option, so it wasn't even discussable. But now that it's there, it's like, okay, well, you can make the decision. What else? Where else could this be used? And that's where it gets dangerous. Shane says, I would argue that no one is in their right mind when they're contemplating suicide, which is why I said yesterday that no one actually consents to suicide. Oh, there you go. So that's
Good
interesting,
point.
yes.
Interesting point, yeah.
And CTV has done a lot of work on MAID, Miles says, for sure. It is true. And again, if you look at pharmaceutical companies, like Jerome was saying, and you mentioned agenda or something like that, if you look at all the people that, they got their hands slapped for the whole opioid crisis, they knew it. They knew people were addicted to synthetic heroin through OxyContin. You don't think they knew that. You don't think their studies knew that. You don't think they made billions and billions and billions of dollars off of opioids. Opioids have been known for years and years and years. The British used it on the Chinese way back when. They got them all addicted to opium, and they were able to take them over basically and plunder them through that. And it's a war tactic to get a society all addicted to drugs. And if you look at our society right now, we have an epidemic, worse than COVID. I'm not even going to say arguably, it is worse than COVID. The numbers are worse than COVID. The deaths are worse than COVID. The implications are worse than COVID, but yet we're locking everyone down, and the measures we're taking for that. Meanwhile, we're looking to pharmaceutical companies for the answer for our COVID epidemic as well. And I would also argue that the solution they're giving us from the same people who gave us opioids that caused the huge problem is, I think history will show, will also cause detrimental effects to our health. And then the fentanyl that's getting out there, who's producing fentanyl, who invented it, it just never ends. And now here you have doctors prescribing to just kill you when you come in with an ailment of some kind. So through pharmaceuticals, we can kill you. Don't just do it on your own. I can make money off this, and so can the pharmaceutical companies make money. So they made money off 10,000 Canadians last year. Not only the whatever they used to kill Canadians, the doctors, and I need to look into this more. The doctors aren't just going to not make money off the service; they make money off every service they provide, right? Through our universal health care, and you swipe your health card, they're going to make money off that service. So I just need to know how much it is or what incentives they get. But if you look at pharmaceutical companies are part of those three. And when Bill Gates is found to say in his TED Talk that he can help the health of the world and also decrease the population, the overpopulation problem we have through vaccines, I would then start questioning and who's at the head of the vaccine movement. You always have to wonder about these things and connect the dots on your own, do your own research. These are just things that I've asked myself over time.
Reward the weak and screw the feeble.
So it's interesting anyways. And so this conversation will continue. And again, I don't want it to take up the whole show. We are at the halfway point right now. So let's just unpack some of the headlines that we got going on for the moment. In the news, we have tiny homes. There's a study in Sudbury that could have a big impact on the housing shortage. I have a lot to say about this story. This is Collège Boreal received over $750,000 to make a tiny home.
Do a lot with that.
Yeah, they received $360,000 of federal financing to do a study on if tiny homes are good and to build one. And they're going to donate it to charity when it's built. Got a lot to say about that. I hope I can just say it in a concise, I might have already just said it, if you get my drift. But anyways, also, Sudbury Disabilities Conference calls for inclusivity for all. The 13th annual Person with Disabilities Breakfast and Conference was held in Sudbury just recently. So I have video on both of those, and I want to be able to share them. Something that I thought that our local MP, Vivian Lapointe, was going to table a bill. It's going to be done by Charlie Angus. So Charlie Angus introduces the bill to prevent the CCAA use by public institutions. That's the way that Laurentian was able to go through insolvency. It was reserved for for-profit corporations, but Laurentian was able to find that loophole. So he wants to make it impossible for any other public institution to utilize that same loophole, and they're making a bill for that. But I thought Vivian Lapointe, I thought we had a story the other day where Vivian Lapointe was introducing the bill, but I guess Charlie Angus is going to. Same idea. They'd want to stop it, and I think it should have been stopped before it even started, but there you go. Now, this headline here. Is Trudeau a giant hypocrite for supporting China's anti-lockdown protesters?
Wow, this is even a question.
So Trudeau crushed Canada's own anti-lockdown protest with the Emergencies Act, but he's against but he's supporting the Chinese protesters protesting their lockdowns. So is Trudeau a giant hypocrite for supporting China's anti-lockdown protesters? I have my own opinion, but I'm sure we all have our own opinions as well. Even the doctor's receptionist gets a kickback from pharma. From the salesperson. Oh, interesting. I did know that.
Somehow I believe that.
I did know they were taking him out.
I'd be inclined to believe that.
Yeah, I did know that they were whining and dining them and things like that. And then I thought they brought in more regulations to prevent things, but I don't know where they're at with that. I don't know what other ways they found around those things to, I know my doctor would always give me free samples and stuff to try when I went in, because he was getting them from his pharmaceutical rep and whatever, and it was just pushing whatever the rep was giving him, right? And I found I had headaches one time, really bad headaches, and the doctor said, Are you sensitive to light? I said, no. Sound? No. He said one other thing and said, well, since you are sensitive to light and sensitive to sound, here, take these things. They should help you with their headaches. And it was a sample from a pharmaceutical rep. Lo and behold, all I needed to do was drink more water and my headaches went away. A friend of mine said, hey, do you drink water? I said, no, not very much. So I started drinking more water. Haven't really had a headache since that. So go figure. I was dehydrated. Doctors, that's doctors, could have said.
Required, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So also the Auditor General, the same Auditor General that did the report on Laurentian University's bankruptcy, I guess went further digging into things and into the Ontario, doing a report on Ontario's financial situation and looked into casinos and how all that fits into stuff and found some nefarious things going on. And Doug Ford went, hey, wait a minute. Stay in your lane. Like, don't be looking into too many things here. So that's interesting. So Ford says he won't use the notwithstanding clause to fight Bill 124 after the court ruling. So he was saying he might appeal it and fight it and whatever. And so he says no, he's gonna back down on that one. That's all the headlines we got so far. So let's get right into things. I have the story about the tiny home here from Collège Boreal is the one that got the funding for it. So let's check right in here with my friend Tony Rima covering it. We'll be right back.
A post-secondary institution in Sudbury recently received funding from the federal government. Collège Boreal will use the money researching tiny homes and if they're an option in Northern Ontario. CTV's Molly Fromer has the details.
Over the course of 3 years, Collège Boreal will be receiving a total of $360,000. The money will go into research as well as planning and designing a tiny home.
We're going to be working and including some of our architecture students in the process. In year 2, we're really hoping to build the tiny home at our Sudbury campus. So that's going to include, students from our carpentry, welding, plumbing, electricity programs. And then year 3 is really to evaluate that design.
Collège Boreal will be working alongside the city, as well as an organization called Tiny Town Association, based out of Kingston. Its founder says the organization is working toward building its first tiny home community, with the intention of building multiple communities across Canada to provide affordable housing.
Our partnership with the college is that we'll be able to, in partnership with them, look at how tiny homes can be constructed to be affordable and meet the housing needs in northern communities. So we'll be able to look at different building styles and determine, do we need that much insulation? Do we need that those thicknesses of walls to be able to build something that is affordable and easy to maintain?
Peterson adds with this partnership with Collège Boreal, he hopes the students helping out with this build will become interested in building tiny homes once they graduate.
We are working to develop people coming out of college and high school and college and looking at building tiny homes as a potential job or business for them to start. So, with all those things in place, there's the potential for a lot of builders to come on board and build tiny homes.
Collège Boreal says once the tiny home is built, it's planning to donate it to a not-for-profit organization. Molly Fromer, CTV News, Sudbury.
All right. So, Brian, what do you think?
Sweet. What do I think?
Tiny homes, $360,000 being given to Collège Boreal to build a tiny home over 3 years. So
great for the program, the students to get some hands on. I like the ideal.
Yep.
An alternative way of buying a home, and this is pretty darn cool. I'd say cooler than electric cars.
Yeah, so tiny homes are cool. They've been around for quite some time now. Again, if I'm going to be critical of the story, I would say $360,000, so over $250,000, going to be given to educational institution, Collège Boreal, that could be political in and of itself, which college receives that funding, to teach kids or to look into tiny homes over 1 year. Then in year
Period of 1
two,
year.
then in year 2, possibly building one tiny home. Then in year 3, they hope to have the tiny home built, and they will donate that tiny home to charity. So I don't know. It tells me something about our system in a lot of ways, just how we go about things, right? So we need housing when? When do we need housing, really? When is the need for housing in our community?
Well, when people can't afford housing anymore.
Yeah, and the need is now.
People
Like we need
end up on the
housing.
streets.
Yeah, we need housing now.
Seriously.
And tiny homes
A lo-
should have been, we should be open to tiny homes. A trailer is one form of a tiny home, and they've already existed for years, like a mobile home.
And there's tons of them around.
For sure.
There's shit ton of them around. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
There's I mean, the materials are out there, and then wow, so many. This is going to be interesting to watch, because it's a whole new way of home building and really living and just a whole new way of constructing as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Karen says they're already being used out west. Tiny houses can be even smaller. The problem is cities letting them be used. Exactly. It just needs to be open to the idea of them and having them in certain communities, just like trailer parks are, right? Like they had a solution for trailer parks.
Right.
And they're kind of woven into the infrastructure of cities, and they work out quite well. And this just to me is taking a lot longer than it needs to. A lot of people are minimalists, right? They get rid of all the excess things they need. And whether or not there's a need or they can afford it, some people actually would choose to live in a tiny home. And many of these communities I found are in the Midwest United States I've seen. And I don't know, I just thought the person's comment too, if we need to do research on how much insulation we need. Like what? You don't think a builder here in Sudbury could tell you that in 2 seconds? You need 3 years to figure out how much insulation you need in a tiny home for, you can just call someone in Alberta, like Karen was just saying, they're made out there. Do you need 3 years to make one tiny home at $360,000 of taxpayers' money?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the project unfolds, what comes of it, and I mean, it's a 3-year program. They've turned it into a 3-year program. They have, and but yeah, I would have to agree. Good point. It really doesn't. We can do all of that inside of 1 year, 2 years, not even.
Yeah, and there's trailer parks, just like Dan's saying. There's trailer parks all over the city. We already do these things. Like you could just basically, you can almost just say, okay, same idea as a trailer park. It's just you could either have a trailer or a tiny home in the same type of infrastructure. You could at least start with that. Like, what's the difference? I don't think people would complain in a trailer park if someone had a tiny home instead of a trailer. That's a possibility. Or just make a tiny home park. Pretty simple. People can buy them and bring them. You don't need a 3-year program and wait for Collège Boreal to have their one built 3 years from now. You know what I mean? Right. It's just the way they're talking. It's backwards. The whole system is kind of backwards. We need it now. They're already there. Yeah.
What we're hearing is the fluff. The fluff. I guess
I
always used to call it the corporate fluff. The blah blah blah. 3 years is the amount of time they've chosen to do this. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So Karen has a lot of really cool insight here in her comment about the cost of them. People kind of, even van life. Have you heard of that? People living in their vans. Like it's interesting. Like it doesn't have to be illegal. Like a lot of times it's frowned upon. What's that, Brian?
I said hippies lived in vans all the time.
Exactly.
I remember my cousins who had one. It was the van, the carpeted van. There was like beanbag chairs in it.
And I don't think it's a bad thing if they have a program, like a program on making tiny homes.
Excuse Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. I don't think it's a program with. I don't think it's a problem having a program where they focus on tiny houses. It's just that story made it sound like, oh, getting the $360,000 to build a tiny home, and they're going to use students to do it, and it's going to take 3 years, and then at the end of it, they're going to donate it to a not-for-profit, and in the meantime,
Not-for-profit.
yeah, in the meantime, they'll figure out. They're going to, the way it was positioned, they're going to figure out how to build a tiny home in the north. That's already been figured out. It's already been done. You don't have to figure that out. You know, it's crazy. And the reason why this is so sensitive to me, I have a little bridge. It was a one-way bridge. You know those ones where you have to stop for somebody in order for the oncoming traffic to come through. It's been there for years, and the traffic is heavy, and we needed a new bridge. So the guys came in, started construction on that bridge. It's a single-lane bridge. They made it into a two-lane bridge. It's over a creek. Guess how long it took them to make that bridge? 5
Same
months.
day. 5 months.
5 months to build a little bridge over a creek.
Over a break.
5 months.
So,
There's something wrong with that. I can't even begin to unpack all the things wrong with how long that took and why does it take our society to do something that long. And I'm not a fan of China at all. I'm not a fan of their political system any way, shape, or form. But what I am a fan of is they can build a hospital. What was it, in 7 days? They can build a whole hospital in 7 days. That's possible. So they've proven it's possible to do something like that. And then you have to ask yourself, why does it take us 5 months to build a bridge over a creek? You know what I mean? And all kinds of equipment. There was like 17, 20 people there every day standing around drinking coffee. And, you know, I don't know what they were talking about. I don't know what they were doing. But it took them 5 months to build a little wee bridge. Then here it is, 3 years to build a tiny home and $360,000 in a program. And hopefully good things can come from it. Good things came from the bridge. We can all drive over it now. There's always good sides to everything. But holy cow, that's just a lot of time.
It does
a lot of money.
Seem like a lot of time. Well, $360,000 is really not a lot of money. When you think about it in terms of, you know, what does $360,000 buy? I can think of a million things to do with it, and you know, help a lot of people with that sort of cash.
100%. Yep.
A little after after hearing your rant, I would say, yeah, okay, through 3 years is a little bit ridiculous for such a project that could probably be done in 1 year.
Yep, exactly.
The whole thing.
There's many solutions. I know Karen's had a few comments here. Jen has one here too. Good solutions, good companies that are already doing this thing. So just pay attention to the comments there. If you're listening on the radio, you can check us out on Facebook after and check out the comments. You were saying, Brian?
I missed that comment that was up on the screen. It said something about Rockwood, Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. Just where you can get some tiny homes stuff. Right. We got to move on right now. We're going to get into our next story here about the Sudbury Disabilities Conference, and got some stuff for that as well. So this is also from CTV. We're very thankful for their contributions to local journalism because it gives us, video journalism. They're the only ones doing it. So until we're able to have the resources to be able to do the same thing, we rely on them for that.
Breaking bread and breaking stereotypes was the theme at the Persons with Disabilities Breakfast and Conference. Now in its 13th year, the event drives home the importance of equality for all.
Whether it's work, recreation, they want to have accessibility to concerts, restaurants, venues. They just want to be able to participate in the regular cultural activity in Sudbury.
Getting the word out to the community is important for Independent Living Sudbury Manitoulin, which provides programs, services, and support for those with disabilities.
We love them for who they are, and if we notice any skills in them, we encourage them to go for it, to strive for their goals.
Speakers shared their stories, including Pure Country 91.7's Brian Cooper, who addressed ongoing challenges with his anxiety and depersonalization disorder.
Mentally, I feel like I'm not fully present. That's the best way that I can describe it. I'm able to function, I'm able to cope, But that is exactly what I've been dealing with basically for about 10 years.
A key message delivered was bringing awareness to inclusivity in the workforce, with organizers stating only 4 in 10 small businesses hire a person with disabilities in Canada.
Take every day with a smile and you'll never be bored or lonely.
Amy Adair lives with cerebral palsy and uses a wheelchair for mobility. She was acknowledged by the gathering after talking about working full-time at a long-term care home in Sudbury.
I love what I do. My day is full of smiles. They have the most untold stories you'll ever hear, and honestly, it is amazing the stories I've heard.
Adair says her message to others looking for work is to keep trying. She says it's about finding the right people to work with and work for. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
So there you have it. Richie there, good friend of mine. He was the one speaking there at the beginning. And he's reached out to me just recently asking if I wanted to be on the board there, and I really appreciated that invitation. He thought I could be a good fit, and I do have a special place in my heart for people with disabilities. There's many people close to me in my family that have all types of different things that they deal with and challenges on a daily basis. And we've even lost one of our children to a terminal illness and a disability. And so I have a very soft place in my heart for that cause. And it's really great to see a conference like this where they get together and they discuss their challenges and things that they could overcome and work together to be positive. And then this is what I picture. So I'm going to bring it back to the medical assistance in death thing, because this is what really pulled on my heartstrings with this whole thing. So you picture if someone doesn't have an advocate for them and they're vulnerable in that way, can you imagine if they had a doctor speaking at that conference, just letting everyone know in that room, well, if you ever feeling down and you're ever feeling you don't want to overcome your challenges, you don't want to put a smile on your face, as that one young lady so eloquently put it, put a smile on your face, deal with your challenges, try to overcome things. That type of uplifting message. If she would have been followed by a doctor saying, well, if you can't put a smile on your face and you are really depressed and you just can't find a way to get over it, you know what you could do, just picture that. You know what I mean? It's just so horrendously evil. It's evil.
It's scary.
It's not evil if someone is suffering so badly, like the reason why they brought this legislation in the first place. That's not evil, I guess. But it then opens the door for evil. And that's what I'm really worried for. These vulnerable people that are they're so special. They're angels on the earth. They have these disabilities they deal with on a day-to-day basis that we couldn't even begin to understand, and their challenges. And then just somebody making that suggestion to them that, because you have this disability. A doctor told me and my wife, we should abort our baby, knowing that we are going to give birth to a baby who's going to suffer from many, many physical and possible mental challenges. And we said, no, we're not going to do that. This life came in. She has just as much right to live as we do. Like, why would we? Like, oh, yeah, but it's going to be challenging on you. You're going to have to take care of her. I said, oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to take care of her? It's going to be... it's going to be, inconvenient for a parent to look after their child with special needs. Heaven forbid. I mean, so that was suggested to us as well, just like that. And then we said, no, we were going to choose to have our child. And they continued to, no, we strongly suggest that you abort the child. It's not even fair for the child. They were making every argument kind of thing. And until they realized how much we were adamant that we believe in what's meant to be is meant to be, and we're going to roll with the punches. And our life was so blessed by that decision. As challenging as it was, as much as it hurt and all those things, to go through that process, it was that much more fulfilling and rewarding. And we are so glad we made that decision that we did. And that's just my personal story. And I know there's many more like that. And so this is why it's such a personal issue for me. Okay, Jerome, I've developed a health disdain for the allopathic practitioner. Yeah, and ourselves too. Have we been through our system, if you will, our medical system? There's been many things that have raised red flags for us. And we've had to deal with them many times because we've had children with disabilities, many. So, yes, well, thank you very much, Shane. Yes, I do feel we've made the right decision. So, yeah, great that that conference happened, and I hope it will continue. I want to end with a little bit of a deep dive, but we don't have much time. So, in your opinion, Brian, is Trudeau a giant hypocrite for supporting China's anti-lockdown protesters?
In my eye, well, if I'm just reading the headline without going into the story, I mean, you don't support the truckers in Canada. You don't support the protesters in Canada.
Well, it's not only not supporting.
Yeah.
Not invoking the Emergencies Act.
Yeah, invoking.
It's a War Measures Act.
And then you put on this sort of display of, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, hypocrite.
Yep. And worldwide definitely was a stain on Canada. World leaders, there's so many videos. Just take a time and go, world leaders upset at Justin Trudeau. Just do a deep dive on your own and go search. You would never have seen it on CTV, CBC, or any of the social media that you follow. But we didn't cover it here because that's who pays for our media, right? Is the government. And they're not going to show that. That's a black eye for sure. But many world leaders were very upset at the way, and they said this is a human rights atrocity what Justin Trudeau was doing to his own citizens, and then to turn around and to criticize, or to support the protesters in China.
Support. Yeah.
He should be supporting the government there. Look, if he's doing what he consistently did here, he should be supporting Xi Jinping and their crackdown and lockdown on COVID. That's what he feels is very important. He did the same things for the same reasons. Xi Jinping wants to keep his citizens safe, correct?
Don't know how the man sleeps at night.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, we got to leave it there, Brian. You got the last word there. God bless you and your wife. Thank you, Jerome. Appreciate it. Dog and Pony Show King. But he has to support people in China because of their human rights violations. He's caught between a rock and a hard place, 100%, Miles. You said it exactly right. He is caught between, he has to say what he's saying, but that then makes him a hypocrite because he had to say what he had to say, making him a hypocrite.
I'd sooner step down, but that's me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks, Brian, for joining us today. Really appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Montreal Canadiens fans, go Habs. Brian's wearing a Montreal Canadiens shirt for those on the radio. Thanks to everyone for chiming in today. It was a great discussion. Thanks for being with us. We'll be with you same time, same place on Monday. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. And stay safe, everyone. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Have a great one. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.